everybody, I'm Allie and this is Allie G Reads, and today I'm going to do a book haul. It's my first ever book haul, trying new types of videos. These are not books that I bought like very recently. These are probably like accumulative over the past 2 months or so, but I realized that there's some I haven't talked about, so I want to talk about them, kind of show you what I plan to read for like summer, maybe fall, depends on how long it takes me to get through. I have a couple of library books I'm going to show, but those are, of course, if I make it to reading them before they go back. And I'm also going to briefly talk about how I rate books. So without further ado, let's get started. So just a quick note on how I rate books. My rating system, everybody's rating system is subjective, but I kind of realized that I never really give 5 stars, and most of the books I read fall between a 2 and a 3. So I'm going to briefly explain why I rate books the way I rate books. So a 1 star is, I hated it. Like, I absolutely despised it. I would never recommend it to anybody. Nobody should read it. Like, the worst book in my opinion. Like, a 1 is dreadful. A 2 is I didn't like the book, but there is something that didn't make me hate it. So like, there's a positive note to the book, which is why it gets a 2 star and not a 1 star. A 3 is, it's good. It's a good book. I have some gripes with it, but they're usually very like personal. But 3 stars are kind of books that I feel the masses would like, or I think would be really accessible to people. So even if I didn't love it, a lot of people will. So that's kind of what a 3 star is. 4 star is the book was incredible. It was amazing. I adored it. It just wasn't like a favorite, which means a 5 star is an all-time favorite book of mine, or a book that I will never forget, something that will stick with me for the rest of my life. So that's why you almost never see 5-star books, because for me to give a 5 star means that it's like, oh my God, this is one of my all-time favorite books now. Like, it's going on the list with like an all-time favorite. So that's why you don't really see a lot of 5 stars. So a 4 star would be the equivalent of most people's 5 star, if that makes sense. So that was my quick rating note. I will start with the library books first, just because, again, if I get to them, I get to them, but I'm interested in reading them, so I might have to purchase them later, but we'll see. I've heard a lot about this book. I do want to read it. This might be one that if I don't get to it or I don't finish it, I will likely buy it. This is called Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. I have heard nothing but amazing things about this. And specifically this part of history that not a lot of people know about. So that's really what gripped me the most. This is like a family saga. I just want to make sure I get the countries right. It says, from the bustling street markets, the halls of Japan's finest universities, to the pachinko parlors of the criminal underworld, these complex, passionate characters, strong, stubborn women, devoted sisters and sons, fathers shaken by moral crisis, survive and thrive against the indifferent arc of history. So this is a family saga. Again, like, this is like a bit of history that not a lot of people talk about, so I'm definitely interested in it. I've heard nothing but amazing things, so I'm really looking forward to this one. This is another book kind of like Pachinko that if I don't end up finishing it or getting to it, I'm likely just going to buy. It's The Children of Jocasta by Natalie Haynes. This is a retelling. There's a giant fly in here, of course. It's going to drive me fucking nuts. This is a retelling of Oedipus. And this is positioned as like the story of Oedipus, but from the women's perspectives. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. I do like that play a lot. I'm curious to see. I really like these feminist retellings. I really like old Greek mythology and plays. So I'm hoping that this one ends up being good. Again, this and Pachinko might be future purchases if I don't finish them before they're due. I have The Poison Thread by Laura Purcell. Laura Purcell wrote The Silent Companions, which is one of my favorite horror books. It's really good gothic. This is a short book. She is a British author, and she does gothic horror very, very, very well. This is about two women. One is in prison. The other is visiting this woman in prison. And I'll just give you the brief little thing. When she meets Ruth, she's faced with another strange idea that it is possible to kill with just a needle and thread. The story Ruth has to tell of bitterness and betrayal, of death and dresses, will shake Dorothea's belief in rationality and the power of redemption. Can Ruth be trusted? Sounds so interesting. So I'm hoping this is going to be a fast read and I can fly through it. I have a horror here, No One Gets Out Alive by Adam Neville. I heard this recommended very highly from Jordaline Reads here on YouTube, and she said that it's like a haunted house story, but it feels very relatable if you're a woman, and like the dangers and the fears that women have living alone are played very well in this. But it's written by a man, so I'm skeptical, but it sounded really intriguing to me, but it's a hefty one. So I'm hoping I might have to renew this one because I'm not sure if this is going to be like an investment book, but we'll see. But it sounds really interesting, and I like haunted house horror a lot. This is apparently a very weird, dark, weird book. In the House Upon the Dirt, Between the Lake and the Woods by Matt Bell. This came up on a book list of weird books. This is the last one from the library I have here. This is apparently about a couple, and they're married and they want to have children, and this fucking fly, man. Their pregnancies keep failing, and from what I understand, the father consumes one of the dead infants, which then consumes his soul. Now you have this soul possessing him. So it sounds like weird, crazy horror, and we'll see if I can get through it. So we'll just go, now it's books that I've accumulated over the past month or two, so maybe going on 3, because it's quite a hefty little pile. So we'll just run through them. I have Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. This is an Oxford classic. I have never read Dickens. This is a classic I hear a lot about. It doesn't seem as long as some other classics. So I'm interested in this one for sure. I don't entirely know what it's about, but it has come up on a lot of revenge stories lists that I was looking at. So I'm hoping that this is as good as everybody says it is. But I've heard Dickens' language can be a bit dense. So we'll see. A thriller, The Girls Are All So Nice Here by Laurie Elizabeth Flynn. This is like a thriller that came out recently. It's like Indigo, the books chain here, kind of like Barnes and Nobles. They put like recent bestsellers for 40% off. So this ended up being like $15. So I grabbed it on a whim, and I have not got to it. Although one of the like reviews on the back says a brilliantly written, terrifying dive into toxic friendship, deep insecurity, betrayal, and revenge. It's a breathless, unforgettable read. We all know I love revenge stories. So I hope this one ends up being good. I haven't heard anyone talk about it, so we'll have to see. A Different Class by Joanne Harris. I had to ship this from England because you could not get it anywhere. This is a psychological thriller / revenge thriller. Set at like a boarding school in England. Yeah. This apparently, I think, is either a sequel or it ties into this other book that Joanne Harris wrote that I have called Gentlemen and Players. So yes, I don't know if I'm going to try to get through Gentlemen and Players first before I get to this one, but I love revenge stories. So if I can read them as standalones, I'm probably going to start with this one. I got The Time Traveler's Wife at the grocery store because it was really cheap. I've not seen the movie and I've heard really good things about both. And then I've heard some people say that the book is better, which it usually is. So this is a time travel love story. We'll see. I have The Cutting Season by Attica Locke. I've heard really good things about this being like a really good thriller. This is set on a plantation where a body is found and past secrets kind of get dredged up. This sounds so good and so interesting, and I've heard nobody talk about it, but it's shown up on a couple book lists. I found it at Book Outlet for $5 and I grabbed it right away because I had heard nothing but good things about how great of a thriller this is. So I do want to try to get to this summer for sure. Disclaimer by Renee Knight. This came up on like a revenge book list, and then it also came up on a psychological thriller book list. This I got used from England as well. It says, what if you realized the terrifying book you were reading was all about you? A brilliantly conceived, deeply disturbing psychological thriller about a woman haunted by secrets and the price she will pay for concealing the truth. I don't like reading too much about thrillers, in case you can't tell, because I like to go into them like as blind as possible so that the first time you read it, it's like shocking, if it is actually shocking. This sounds so good. So we have a few new thrillers for the summer. Sound of this fly buzzing around doesn't get picked up. So big. I'm super into like mythology. Greek mythology. I like Egyptian stories. I really like Celtic folklore, Slavic folklore. I'm into all of it. So any kind of like folklore mythology I'm into. So it just seems like Greek is the most accessible. So I grabbed The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. This, from what I understand, is a retelling of, this is another Achilles story. Okay. Oh my God, there's like glue gun stuff. This is another stories of Achilles, but this is told from the point of view of, what is her name? Briseis, condemned to be the bed slave to Achilles. And how women in mythology, well, in history in general, let's be honest, were used as like pawns, and the suffering that they endured during war. And history has always been brutal to women. So this is a version of them, like their story. So it's not too long, but I've heard really good things, so I'm hopeful. 3 Hours by Rosamund Lupton. A thriller that you can't get here in Canada, so I got it from England. This is a like a school shooter takes over the school. And it says, if you read one thriller this year, make it this one. It ended up getting the Times, Sunday Times, Daily Telegraph, and Guardian Book of the Year. So it's a lot of British publications. I'm hoping it's good. This is another book I had to get from England because you can't get it here in Canada. This is called The Book of Evidence by John Banville. From what I understand, this is one of those books. So the narrator in this story has committed 2 crimes, one being a murder, the other being a theft of a painting. And this is his like confession, because everybody wants to know why he does it, like why he did what he did. So this is his like stream of confession consciousness. I don't know where I found this book, to be honest. I don't know how I came across it, but it sounds like a really good dark story, so I'm here for that. This recommendation from Books and Bow here on YouTube. He made a list of best translated works of this fucking fly of 2020. So this one sounded great. It's translated from French. I had to get it from England again. The Revolt by Clara Dupont-Moreau. This is Richard Lionheart telling the story of his mother and how she basically drove a revolt against her husband. Short book. I'm loving these like feminist history things, so here's hoping. Such a mess. I also got Till Lindemann from Rammstein. I got his last poetry collection here, like his most recent. I have went through, oh my god, there's dog hair. I have went through a couple so far. I just haven't got to all of them. It's 100 poems though. So that'll just be like I pick them up. I go through like 1 or 2 and then I put it down again until it's done. So this is just like an ongoing project for me. The German translated book here, Kessebier Takes Berlin by it's Gabrielle Turgit. Sophie Duvornier was the translator. This, from what I understand, it is Berlin in 1930s. A searing satire of excesses and follies of the Weimar Republic, chronicling a country on the brink of fascism and a press on the edge of collapse. Turgit's novel caused a sensation when it was published in 1931. So I'm always really interested. I'm really interested in German history and the language and the culture. And to be honest, all the translated books I've picked up so far from Germany have been excellent, and I have not disliked one of them yet. So I'm confident that this will be good. And I do know from what I read about this author, she ended up having to flee Germany because of Nazis. So I am curious to read this story. This is on lists of like, it was like a list, 10 books, 10 fiction books that will take you to Germany, like to understand the history of Germany and stuff. This came on like all of them. So Berlin Alexanderplatz by Alfred Doblin, translated by Michael Hoffman. So again, this is like a Weimar Republic book. Berlin Alexanderplatz, The Great Novel of Berlin and the Doomed Weimar Republic, is one of the great books of the 20th century. Gruesome, farcical, and appalling. Word drunk, pitch dark. In Michael Hoffman's extraordinary new translation, Alfred Doblin's masterpiece lives in English for the first time. Sounds good to me. It's a hefty one. And this one seems like it's like long chapters and long streams of sentences. I did hear someone compare this to like the German version of James Joyce's Ulysses. And I've heard that that's a really hard read. So we'll see. I am really looking forward to this one. Hurricane Season by Fernanda Melchor. Translated by Sophie Hughes. This was translated from Spanish. From what I understand, every single person I have seen talk about this book says it is so dark and it is so like grotesque and hateful that you need to be in a good headspace to read this, because you just cannot believe the hate on the page. So I have not picked this up yet. It's not even long. I just know that I've heard it's amazing, but it's like depressing. So this is about a town and a witch dies and apparently or is murdered. And this is the townspeople like talking about it. This is a stream of consciousness. Like look at this layout. There are no breaks. This is just a stream of consciousness. So I'm looking forward to it again. But I'm not in the right headspace yet. I've been really into reading erotic fiction lately. It's like my mindless read, and I'm trying to be open-minded and expand my reading horizons. But this one is actually good so far. I'm only one chapter in. But this combines two things. So this is A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. I believe this is self-published. This is a trilogy, two trilogies, I think. But what's cool about this one is this is a retelling of the story of Hades and Persephone in Greek mythology. Like an erotic twist. I'm not at the erotic parts yet. I just finished the first chapter last night, and honestly, it's not badly written so far. I'm invested because it's modern day where the gods, like these Greek gods, have been able to like own businesses and like be really relevant in today's society, and they can like hide themselves from like the rest. Like they can live amongst us as well, so they can conceal it. So Persephone is concealing her identity. She doesn't want like her college friend to know that she is a goddess. And Hades owns like a bunch of casinos and nightclubs. So it's actually like again, the first chapter was really gripping, learning about these characters in this kind of like modern world. So I'm excited to like go forward with this. It sounds really interesting to me, and I hope that I hope it continues to be as well written as it is so far. So I like it so far. A Certain Hunger by Chelsea Summers. I fucking love this cover. I love Renaissance type art like this. This is a feminist horror story about a food critic, right? Yes, this is about a like chef food critic who is telling her story about how she went from that to straight up murder. If someone said, like one of the reviews, a feminist horror version of American Psycho. I am fucking down. Like this sounds so good, and it's not that long, so I'm hoping to devour it this weekend. I really love dragons. And I like mythology and stuff, but I realize that I don't really pick up fantasy more often, but I think that if I found the right niche of fantasy, I would like it a lot more. So I think I might have found two. I'll talk about another one after. This is apparently the first in a supposed trilogy. Books and Bow also talked about this book, and he said it was really, really, really good. They said that it was really, really, really good. So I'm looking forward to this. This is apparently like Norse mythology. And I love that. Vikings and Norse mythology. I'm into it. So I don't know why fantasy books have to be so long. So I'm hoping that I like this as much as I like the cover. Excuse me. The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This cover is so beautiful. Dragons. This is, from what I understand, LGBTQ plus. It is a hefty bitch though. So yes, this is an LGBT fantasy story with dragons. Yay! I'm looking forward to this one as well. And that's it. A lot of these sound really interesting. So I think I have a good like summer pile here. I do have another one. Circe is Coming by Madeline Miller, and also we'll be getting The Maidens when that is released in June. The Maidens is by the same author that did A Silent Patient. So this is his new thriller. And I adored The Silent Patient, so I have to read this one. So yes, please let me know if you have any thoughts about any of these or any recommendations based on any of these. Or one similar sounding to any of these. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this first book haul. If you want to see more like this, please let me know as well. I don't have an exit. Bye.